Hi, and welcome everybody to another edition of the Winner's Circle Sports Betting Podcast. I'm professional sports handicapper Ross Benjamin of RBWins.com. And like last Tuesday and every Tuesday going forward, including today, my guest is Mr. Sean Higgs, not Craig Trapp, but Sean Higgs. Boy, oh boy, personal joke between us. For whatever reason, I kept referring to him as Craig Trapp last week, and I apologize for that, but I know who Sean is, and he's one of the finest handicappers in the country. Sean, how are you, my friend?
Good. Listen, I love my baseball, but let's be honest, it's a full week of NFL preseason and then 2 weeks out of college football. I don't know, why do they call it week 0 when there's actually like a dozen games or something? It should be considered
I don't, because of the Hall of Fame game. I have no idea, but hey, it is what it is. We went to the 3-game format now, call it whatever you want. It's NFL preseason.
Yep.
Yeah. So anyway, Sean, I don't know if you had a play last week, didn't you, on the Hall of Fame game, as I recall?
I did. I had under 33 and it came down to 30. Did not get there.
Yeah.
And people like to talk, closing line, like the value and stuff. And yeah, it's nice to have. It doesn't mean you win. You, like me, if you bet a game and football, I'm betting the games ahead of time, right? Regular season, even preseason. Preseason, I'm granted a little tougher because you kind of really don't know how to play. We saw this Niner game we could talk about in a little bit, kind of move based on today's news with San Fran saying you got starters playing.
Yeah.
But game's gonna move, and you just want to be as a bettor. You feel like, all right, I was right about it, right? You do your work on a game, no matter what the sport. But I guess it's more inclined for football. But you do the work. I like it, and the next thing you know, the game goes with you. Like, I was right. I like the under. It's coming down, and then hey, it's a loser. You just shake your head. More often than not, I think long run, you make the money in that over the long term. But what am I gonna do? I thought I was on the right side. Preseason's crazy.
You had Las Vegas, didn't you, too? If I recall, or no?
No. I had a little lean there to the Jags. I figured, Pedersen was ever coming in.
Yeah.
Flash that Super Bowl ring. Like, hey, we were crap last year. New regime. Let's kind of start things off nice. But I didn't get there.
Yeah, it is what it is. I mean, look I started last year 2-4 in the NFL preseason and finished 10-6. So that's exactly what you're going to do. You're going to have a winning NFL preseason because I know you. I have confidence in you. And I did get lucky. I had the over in that game last week. I got it at 30.5 because I'll be honest with you, at 33, I was going under all day. And then when it got down to 30.5 and I hadn't posted my play yet, I look at my database. I have a 4D handicapping software database made famous by Mark Lawrence. But anyway, when I looked at the data since 1999, that's as far back as I can go with the NFL preseason totals. There had been only 3 totals of 32 or less since 1999, one of them being last week, and now all 3 had gone over the total. So I just think when I saw that move, I said, I guess you could deem it as sharp money when there's a 2.5 point move on the under, because let's not, as well as I do, Sean, that public betting most times and not will favor the over. But that Hall of Fame game had a history of going under at a high rate over the last 7 or 8 years. And, it's not an exact science. You're out to beat a number at this time of year. If you sit there and try to evaluate talent on both sides of the ball, all 95 players on the roster, it's a good way. I was going to say to pull your hair out, but I won't say that to you.
Not an issue. Let's pull my eyebrows out.
Yeah. So,
and like you just said, you're sitting like you're thinking about it like 33 and a half. That's, Hall of Fame games usually a total under like 16-9, but then gets down to 30. Even I saw like a random 29 and a half. That at that point I'm thinking, all right, that's you're a play away from being an under to an over there, basically, right? You think
the game
that's
went
a low
over.
number. 30 points, even preseason is 17-13. You know, you could be losing that game 17-14 or whatever the case would be in these halves.
Yeah. Well, you know, having said that, I mean, by the same token, in your defense, with no pun intended, you know, the game was an under until the last minute and a half when they scored that touchdown at the end. So, and it was an oh, by the way, touchdown. As the score was at 27-3 at the time.
Yeah. And I thought I saw like the Raiders punch one in. Like I think the Jags were deep in their own territory, like on their own 20, like, it's 4th and 50, let's go forward. And then the Raiders scored, you know, play later or whatever to make it 27-3. You're like, oh, well, what are they gonna do? You know, hey, it's preseason. Those guys, and this is why preseason, as much as I think he can have an edge, because the coaches come out and say, first stringers are playing, they're not playing. We're going to give it all the reps to the backup quarterback today. So you kind of have a little to go on.
Yeah.
But then it's a tail end of the game. You got a guy, normally we're going to run it out. Now this guy's going to throw the ball and say, hey, coaches, look, I can throw a 17-yard strike. And you know, sometimes it's good. It's you got the over or the cover, wonderful. Other times he throws something and it's a interception. You're like, what are you doing? And then the other side comes in.
Yeah, no, I hear you. And the bottom line is ordinarily that's what they would do.
Yeah,
27-3 game, but you know, you got guys buying to make the team, and especially a team like Jacksonville, where it's not like they have a solid roster with just 5 or 6 openings at the end of the roster. It's, you know, there's 30 players on that team that right now probably can go either way. 15 making it and 15 not making it. So
you're back up on a 2-3-4 win team. You're coming, you're running through brick walls. You're just trying to make an impression to get on that squad, get a practice squad. Maybe some other team see some film, be like, yeah, that guy's playing hard. Give him a shot. You know, so
Yeah, so it is what it is. So we got beyond that Hall of Fame game. Now we go into the first full week of the preseason. And folks, we're going to be covering 2 games. Sean is going to be looking at the Green Bay at San Francisco game that goes Friday evening at 8:30. And I will be looking at Thursday's game between the New York Giants and the New England Patriots. By the way, we just got done doing a show for Picks and Parlays called the Power Hour. And Sean did a preview on the NFC East, and I tell you, I couldn't agree more. I think the Giants at plus 750 are well worth a flyer. The only thing I will disagree with you that you said was you said Dable is an okay offensive coordinator. I think he's a great offensive coordinator. I do listen. He did a great job with Josh Allen.
Yes.
When he took over, Sean, this kid was making bonehead mistake after bonehead mistake after bonehead mistake. And through the course of the 4 years as his offensive coordinator, this kid ascended. And now, having said that, Daniel Jones, I personally think with right coaching, he could be a decent NFL starter. Decent being a key word.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the raw ability of a Josh Allen. He doesn't have the talent level as a Josh Allen. But I do think that a guy like Brian Dable could make Daniel Jones the best version of himself, because there are some mirror images in the fact that how many times have we seen Daniel Jones over the last few years just make a mistake, Sean, and say, holy cow, what's he thinking about? Josh Allen was doing the same thing at the beginning of Dable's tenure. So, you know, I really enjoyed that segment. Good job.
And this is, I think, is this what his 3rd head coach, right? Because it's Dable.
Yeah.
He had Judge. He had Shermer for a bit, right? As a you know, so he's gone through a couple, and they brought in Mike Kafka, I believe, is their offensive coordinator or passing guy. Yeah. So he's, you know, Giants are in a kind of tough. If you're a Giant fan, you're like, what do we? It's a tough year. Like, the quarterback knows he's kind of out on a limb. Like, it's not his guy.
Yeah.
Is he going to sign me? But again, price wise, take a shot. You never know.
He's not in a position of strength, Daniel Jones. He can improve himself in the point that he, if he does ultimately become a free agent, which that's where it's leaning toward, because I don't think they picked up his 5th-year option. Is it his 4th year? I can't remember.
Yeah, he's definitely a free agent after this year.
Yeah, yeah. So we'll see what happens there. But God help us all if you have a ticket on the Giants. And again, I'm going to disagree with you. If you have a ticket on the Giants and you're dependent on Tyrod Taylor, folks, if this guy doesn't make mistakes, okay, he doesn't. Yeah, I mean, that's his trademark. That's why he's an appealing backup.
Yes,
because he's a guy who comes in and he doesn't. He plays within himself and he doesn't beat you with making dumb errors. However, he also, Sean, doesn't take a hell of a lot of chances either, which, I mean, dink and dunk and 3rd and 12 and throwing 5-yard passes. I mean, we'll see. But, that division is wide open to me. So I really enjoyed that segment. Anyway, let's get to the free pick at hand. And you're going to be covering the Green Bay at San Francisco game, 8:30 p.m. Eastern time start in San Francisco, Friday, the 12th. Right now, I'm looking at San Fran as a 2.5-point favorite, and the total is 33. What do you got for us?
Yeah, I know it was actually like around a 1.5, and then Shanahan comes out and says we'll see some first stringers on a Friday night. Normally, you're thinking not many first stringers. He said they're playing, which that's a decision, because even Harbaugh, who's great in preseason, he said, you know what, I think I'm going to rein in some of my guys. Another team kind of get some injuries. And the Niners have been like an injury kind of prone team, right? I mean, Garoppolo gets hurt, Kitto's hurt, like guys just hurt, always seem to be hurt on a team, kind of cost them. So we'll see how it plays out. Again, this could be a series. It could be 2 series. It could be just handing the ball off. I was thinking about taking Green Bay here, just money line. All right, I'm 1.5, pick them. I'll take the +105, +110. LaFleur, what do you got here? It's easy to plug in Aaron Rodgers, but Jordan Love, let's be honest, this guy's should have probably got half the snaps in this game, half the game. I mean, Danny Etling. I want to know what Jordan Love is. You picked him second.
You picked him want to see what you have, right?
Right. But I'm kind of leaning back now. At that point, I'm thinking, all right, I don't like Shanahan. We've seen him blow leads in the Super Bowl, right? He was in charge of that 28-3. Like, talk about Atlanta. He was running that show. He was running the show here, a double-digit lead in the 4th quarter versus Kansas City. Regular season, great. You can put out wins, and Garoppolo gets into championship games. He kind of worries me. That being said, I got Sudfeld and Brock Purdy. They played NFL games. They have in-game, live, regular season action under their belts. And now they'll be going up against 2nd, 3rd, 4th stringers.
Well, Purdy's a rookie, though. I got
Ux, yes. I'm sorry. I was thinking for Lance last year, who actually got a little PT for them. But you have, again, quarterbacks in rotation facing backups when you've played live, game speed. We're getting paid here. We're going to show you what the NFL's about. So I'm going to lay the 3. Well, 2.5. Again, it's more of a 3 here because, again, folks, you better hope it's more than that, because they're not playing for field goals if they're down by 1. We're chucking it for a touchdown. No ties here. They're looking for big wins. That, to me, is not even a real consideration. I'm expecting probably a touchdown, probably win here. One of those kind of 20-10 type games. If you look at all the totals, they're all pretty much the same: 32.5, 33s, 34s. Very much. Nothing really kind of goes crazy out of there, but I don't know I don't think we'll see Gucci Garoppolo. No Jimmy G here. I think Trey Lance should get a big. He's going to be the quarterback, and all you've seen, Ross, he's inconsistent, right? He's up, he's down.
Yeah.
He's your number 1 guy. He said he's playing. I expect him to play often, and Nate Sudfeld's come in and beat up on a bad backup kind of situation there for Green Bay. Put in the 3rd stringers. Come on, these guys aren't even be in the league in a month. They'll be practice squad guys.
Yeah, I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo, they actually told him not even to report to camp, even though he's technically still a San Francisco 49er. So we'll see what transpires there. All kinds of rumors about where he may go, whatever have you. But I mean, I think you need, if you're going to pull the trigger on a quarterback and expect him to be a contributor right off the bat, you're waiting a little too long if you're going to pull the trigger with Garoppolo and expect him to run an offense he never has before.
Yes.
So we'll see what
and
happens.
What do you think about them doing that? Like, if you're going to trade them, you think trade them. What are you keeping them on the roster for here? Because all that is Trey Lance looking over his shoulder thinking, are they going to put this guy in? Because you've got him to basically 2 Super Bowl, like he gets you championship games.
2 things is my opinion. Okay. Number one, God forbid for 49ers faithful and in the brass of the 49ers that Trey Lance goes down with an injury during preseason. Now you still got this guy Garoppolo under contract. He knows the offense. Probably wasn't going to see a lot of time in the preseason, even if he was going to be the number 1 guy. And number 2, I don't think that there's a lot of interest as much as these rumors in the paper say bringing Garoppolo aboard. Because if a team was going to make a move for a guy who has that starting experience, and let's face it, Craig, look, the guy is up and down, but he's had some success in this league.
Yes.
So if a trade was to be made, I would have thought it would have been made by now. And whoever grabs him now, I don't see him. It's going to be as an insurance policy, so
he's at least a decent backup to have. I mean, he's in a Super Bowl they should have won. Again, you're up double digits on Kansas City in the fourth quarter. You should have won that game. Again, that's your head coach calling crazy defensive plays and blowing the game.
Yeah.
And then, you threw a pick there against the Rams, cautious. No harm losing to the Rams in the championship game on the road.
No,
I mean, you can't. No. I mean, you want to hate the guy.
They were right there too. You know what I mean? It was a winnable game at the end. So yeah. I mean, so a real interesting scenario. Anyway, Sean likes the San Francisco 49ers minus 2.5 over the Green Bay Packers on Friday evening, and like he says, that's the other thing. Let me ask you this. So do you, in your professional opinion, would you advise your clients to just ignore key numbers during the NFL preseason based on, I've heard you say this more than once now, okay? And you're 100% correct. As opposed to the past, nobody wants to go overtime in the NFL preseason. Matter of fact, if a game was tied with less than 30 seconds to go and a team had it on their own 2, I think they would take the safety and get out of there or 2 points. But anyway, what would you say in that regard if a client asked you that?
Yeah, I kind of take the plus. Again, these lines are all short. So if you're taking a dog, you're taking plus 105, plus 110s, thinking they win. But on the flip side, that's when they could easily lose because they're not kicking that field goal to tie it up or win by. They'll be like, you know what, whatever. It's really tricky. I don't have a really right way to do things. If I'm taking the dog, I'm taking it. Again, I'm thinking they're gonna lose by 1 point, and you get that. You do get that in preseason because guys are going for 2 as opposed to the ties.
Yep.
But I don't really worry about the key numbers because it's not a field goal to tie, a field goal to win.
I agree wholeheartedly.
I was saying, if you find like crazy 2-point conversion kind of in-game props for games, I'd say throw something, little change on that every game. There's going to be a 2-point conversion. Coach is going to try that. That's a thing. You hear that now? Like, oh, they're going to go for 2. They're down this amount of score. So teams want to practice that. Hello, preseason. Perfect time to do it when it's nothing to lose. It's hey, we're working. You're working plays. You're working schemes. You're trying to find out players.
Yeah.
I think I said last week too. I think that would be my favorite bet of the preseason. Just every game, just blindly say, will there be a 2-point conversion attempt? And you're probably laying juice on it. I haven't looked, but let's be honest. I'm sure it's like minus $2. I don't see how it could be less.
I would say there's a very high percentage of each game attempting it too.
Yeah, I'm sure it's probably a crazy juice number, but
right, because it's like you're alluding to. It's basically what you're saying, and not so many words. Is that it's experimental time? You know what I mean? This is the time to do those kinds of things. And ordinary, if that was a preseason game, meaning the San Francisco and Green Bay game, and San Fran's minus 2.5. If I like the Niners, there's a good chance I'm going to bet them on the money line. Pay the extra juice. Yeah. I think you're the same way when it comes to that. If I like Green Bay, I'll pay the extra juice to get that extra half a point. But in the preseason, it's not worth it. It really isn't, folks. As it is, they're putting limits on these games or circling them, whatever terminology you want to use. So it's not like you can make an absorbent bet on this unless you want to go to 16 different sports books. So in any way, if you do that during the NFL preseason, folks, there's a 1-800 number that you could utilize anyway.
I mean, really, I like the preseason, as we allude to. Coaches tell you what you're going to do, but it is even if you think you got something good, doesn't mean it's going to get there. It's gambling. Gambling.
I would say too, and I heard you say this last week, and I've said it a couple times already on shows today. People will tell you can't make money on the NFL preseason. There's somebody who's been doing it on their own and has no luck and has no way about what they're doing. Okay. And number two, they're crazy because me and Sean have had a history of making money during the NFL preseason. Right, Sean?
Yeah. No, I mean, preseason, I don't mind repeating myself. They tell you what they're going to do, number one. Yeah. That's a huge edge. You can't get that all the time. Where do they tell you how guys are going to sit and play? And number two, the sports books say, we have no idea what's going to happen. So we'll put X amount of limits on these games. And as soon as somebody comes in and drops a chunk, that line is moving for good, bad, or indifference because they don't know. All right, well, I respect this guy. He's coming in with a big chunk. We're going to move it a half point just because maybe he's got an inside line to a coordinator or something. They don't know. I mean, it's regular season. That doesn't happen. Regular season, throw it all on the table. Preseason, no, you got to respect it because there are edges.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. I mean, if you and look at again, folks, player rotations are key. And one thing I look at, and I'm going to allude to here in the game I'm going to cover in the New York Giants at the New England Patriots on Thursday evening, 7 p.m. Eastern time in Foxborough, is head coaching trends. Now, when you talk about head coaching trends in the regular season, do I pay attention to them? A little bit. How serious do I take them? Not much. But during the preseason, I have a whole different attitude. I thoroughly believe there's three kinds of coaches in the NFL preseason. There's the ones who are just out to assess talent. They're looking to find the last 10 guys on the roster. They're looking, and then there's the others that don't care if they win, lose, or tie. They just want to get to the NFL regular season healthy. And then there's the others, like Harbaugh, John Harbaugh from Baltimore. If you're keeping score, he wants to win. I mean, you don't think so? I just did a piece on Harbaugh yesterday in the Baltimore Ravens, and during the preseason since 2016, Harbaugh and the Baltimore Ravens 20-0 straight up, and 18-1-1 against the spread. Anyway, we're getting pressed for time here. Let me get to my game. And we'll get out of here. Bill Belichick, look, here's the thing I always remember about him. The first two games of the preseason, Belichick and the New England Patriots have always been good. The data that I just looked up verifies that. I mean, first of all, week one of the preseason with New England, since he's been there in 2020, they've gone 12-7 straight up and 11-5-3 against the spread. If you just look back to 2009, again, Belichick's been there since 2000. But if you just go back to 2009, which pretty much is where New England really started to dominate. Week one, they've gone 8-3 straight up and 7-4 ATS with Belichick. The last two preseasons without Tom Brady, in games 1 and 2 of the preseason, New England's gone a perfect 4-0 straight up in ATS and won by 14.7 points per game and averaged 29 points per game. So, I mean, the proof is in the pudding there. And to me, head coaching philosophy marries itself to these types of results, right? I mean, again, I don't overthink these situations. Now, it's always good to look at the player rotations and try to find a local newspaper and a beat writer and see what they have to say about what the plans are. As Sean just alluded to, Very good point with San Francisco. It's come out in the papers, in the local papers in Frisco, which is since rolled down to the national media, that the 49ers are going to play their starters. So, I mean, these are the types of things you need to pay attention to at this time of year, in my opinion, and also the head coaching trends. So I'm I'm just based on Belichick's history, where he's been at the same spot now for going on his 23rd year. Yeah. I'm going to go with New England here, and I'm going to, as a 2-point underdog against the Giants, who are, even though I like them at plus 750, like Craig does, Sean does. I had got it at one time. Sean does. It's still a new coaching staff, and what we saw with Jacksonville last week with Peterson, the one thing that was apparent to me in that game, Sean, was how well organized Josh McDaniel and the Las Vegas Raiders were, and the quality of depth that the Raiders had over the Jaguars. So, and I think that's the case here too. And I'm going to take New England here, plus the 2 over the New York Giants.
Yeah. Like you mentioned, the depth, that's what it is. Raiders, playoff team. They got a lot of just bits and pieces trying to work in.
Yeah.
Patriots, almost a playoff team, right? They're good. Mac Jones looking a step forward. They're putting their pieces together. And again, how do you go against that head coach? The guy's, he's great. The best, right up there, right? I mean, he can't, and he got a whole new squad down in New York.
Yeah.
Offense coordinator, defense coordinator, quarterbacks coach, head coach.
It's going to take time. It's going to take a lot of
moving pieces.
But, it's going to take time, but by the same token, they're in the right division where taking time is, if you start to catch fire about the midpoint of the season, you have an excellent opportunity to win that division. Anyway.
Favorite on the road in preseason.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's the only thing that scared me. I said, I'm looking at Belichick's record, and the Giants with a new coaching staff are 2-point favorites. So we'll see. Again, I got to stick by what's worked for me over the years, and that's what's worked for me.
Even regular season, you see Belichick as a dog. It's like you almost have to just take it blindly. Like, I'm taking a shot on the guy who's just competitive. It's not like he's gonna come in and like just lay total eggs.
Yeah,
I'll take the points. I'm with you. I get it.
Exactly. Anyway, Sean, tell the folks where they could find you and what you may have coming up in the next few days and over the weekend.
Yeah. All right. Well, we were talking about our little Picks Parlay show we did today. We're doing some odd stuff there. I got my little jersey on. We came right from that, me and Ross.
Yeah.
Find me there. Twitter, Mr. Sean Higgs. I do the midday money 7 days a week, 12 noon. We talk about everything. A lot of baseball for me. Love my baseball, but it's preseason time now. Now we got games, week of NFL. I'm going to start doing some college football previews next week because that kicks off next 27th. I guess 2 weeks away. Football right around the corner. So I've got a lot of stuff going on. Like you, right? This is the time. It's kind of like
year, man. This is where we start to get juiced up.
It's like here come the little waves are coming, and all of a sudden you got the big break. It's almost like kind of like a lull with the summer, right? People don't really run to do baseball. It's kind of vacation time, but now it's back in the seat. Now you got to strap yourself in. Next thing you know, it's college football, NBA, hockey, college hoops. It's bowl season in 3 months. It's we're talking about college bowls. It's like,
yeah. So anyway, you could find Sean at picksandparleys.net. A lot of great handicappers there, including myself. And, you could also find, you're just at picksandparleys.net. I almost gave away another site. Anyway,
I'm on that other one with you. We talked about with the,
yes, sports capping. Yes. We can mention any site on this program. Yeah. So, and then the event, you can find me at rbwins.com. That's rbwins.com. Personal guarantee on a daily basis. If you don't win, you don't make a profit on single game or multi-game packages, I will credit your account the exact amount of your purchase price, and you can use that any which way you like toward future purchases. Also, folks, my subscription plans, if you're not making a profit at the end of your expiration date, I will extend your package until you're in the black. So again, Sean Higgs, picksandparleys.net, Ross Benjamin, rbwins.com, picksandparleys.net, me and Sean both at sportscapping.com as well. until the next time. And Sean will be with us next Tuesday and going forward every Tuesday. Sean, thank you for coming on. And for Sean Higgs and Ross Benjamin, we'd like to wish each and every one of you all the very best. Good luck and God bless, folks.